is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton, coming to you from Columbia down here in southern Middle Tennessee, and we are glad to have you guys with us. What's going on, Mo?
Oh, just getting set for another great show.
It's going to be another great show as we have NUBYJAS WILBORN coming your way, and the voice of the Blue Raiders, fresh off his trip to Miami Gardens, bringing home a dub. Chip Walters joins us in the 3 o'clock hour, so you're not going to want to miss it. Stick around throughout the show. It's going to be fantastic because it's also Top 5 Tuesday, Mo, and fresh off that upset, we've got a little option of ourselves. We're going to go top 5 biggest upsets that we've experienced as fans. Last week we had a little downer. This week, going back up, baby.
There we go.
There's no in between here. We're either at the bottom of the barrel or
we
ride
the roller coaster here. We absolutely do. Yep.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys being here, and we are going to get right to it and get in, Mo, to today's rundown. How about that? How about we go to today's rundown?
Let's do that.
All right. This is the rundown. And boom.
Monday's volleyball action. Columbia Central swept East Hickman 3-0. It was Harpeth defeating Fairview 3-2. Hampshire over Mount Pleasant 3-1. And Zion Christian with a 3-0 sweep of Riverside Christian. In girls soccer on Monday, it was Donaldson Christian defeating Mount Juliet Christian 8-0. Friendship Christian with a 1-0 win over Upperman. Adamsville blanked Loretto 6-0. It was Page 1, Christ Presbyterian 0. A lot of shutouts. Portland 6, Springfield 0. Spring Hill with a 4-0 win over Columbia Central. Harpeth down Waverly 8-2, and Zion Christian behind 6 Ava Corbin goals downs Columbia Academy 8-2.
She's good.
She is good.
In pro baseball action, it was the Pirates 8, Reds 3, Braves blanked the Nationals 8-0. In minor league action, walk-off win for the Sounds 6-5 against the Memphis Redbirds. In NFL on Monday Night Football, it was Cooper Rush once again. How about
Cooper Rush is 3-0 as a starter in the NFL.
Did he win?
He started one last year.
Okay, I was like, wait, 2-0 this year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How about Cooper Rush? 23-16 win over the Giants.
Fire up Chips. Pride of Central Michigan.
How about that?
There we go. Volleyball action today at 5 o'clock. Hampshire is at Loretto. Also at 5 o'clock, Perry County is at Mount Pleasant. Time undetermined. Station camp is at Beach. At 6 o'clock, Lawrence County makes the long trek to Woodbury to take on Cannon County.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Hope they left yesterday.
Murfreesboro Central is at Community. Zion Christian is at Franklin Road Christian. And Oakland is at Laverne.
Also at 6 o'clock, Giles County at – whoa, wait a minute. Okay, Lawrence County's playing volleyball.
Somewhere, either at home or away.
It could be against Giles County at home. Could be at Cannon County.
We don't know.
Spring Hill at Page at 6, Blackman at Riverdale, Rockville at Stewart's Creek, Summit hosting Columbia Central, and at 6:30, Smyrna goes to Siegel.
Girls soccer this evening. Well, this can't be right.
Look, I have no idea what time they played. If they played today, I legitimately do not know the answer to this, although I did look to see if I could find it.
I can guarantee you Franklin Road Academy did not play at Summit at 10:30 this morning. But that's what we've got here. That's the information we've got, and I don't know. At 4 o'clock, Hillsborough is at Cane Ridge, allegedly. Cookville's at Smyrna at 4:30. At 5:30, McEwen is at Culleoka. At 5 o'clock, University School of Nashville is at Brentwood Academy. Also at 5 o'clock, Mount Juliet Christian's at Glencliff. Battleground Academy is at Franklin Grace. Overton's at Hunter's Lane. Ensworth is at Lipscomb Academy. Tullahoma goes to Murfreesboro Central. And at 5:30, in addition to that McEwen-Culleoka game, you have St. Andrews Swanee at Middle Tennessee Christian.
Confirmed Franklin Road Academy at Summit at 6 o'clock. It's senior night for the Spartan women.
Not senior women. Senior morning.
Not senior morning. No, it's
senior night. Okay.
Green Hill is also at Martin Luther King at 6 o'clock. It is Good Pasture at Merle Hyde. East Robertson's at Cheatham County. Northwest hosting Clarksville Academy at 6 o'clock. Loretto going to East Hickman. Hume Foggs at Hillwood. Lebanon at home against Wilson Central. Lincoln County playing host to Lawrence County. Middle Tennessee Eagles at Nashville Christian. Macon County at Portland at 6. Huntland's at Richland. Watertown's at Smith County. And Independence Academy at Valor Collegiate.
6:30 starts. Liberty Creek is at White House. Oakland is at Brentwood. Springfield is at Creekwood. And Pope Prep is at Harpeth Hall. At 7, Clarksville Northeast travels to Beach. Dixon County hosts Lead Academy. Franklin is at Father Ryan. Franklin County hosts Rockvale. Station Camp goes to Gallatin. Laverne hosts Mount Juliet. Fairview travels to Montgomery Central. Rossview is at Sycamore. And White House Heritage is at West Creek.
In pro baseball at 5:30, it's the Reds at the Pirates. 6:05, Braves at Nationals. Marlins take on the Mets at 6:10 in New York City. The Phillies are at the Cubs at 6:40. Cardinals are at the Brewers at 6:40. And of other local interest, Robbie Ray of Brentwood will go to the bump for Seattle as they take on the Rangers at 8:40 tonight. In minor league action, the Sounds continue their series against the Redbirds at 7:05 at First Horizon Park.
Oh, and also the Sounds game tomorrow is a day game. It's their regular season finale. It's a 12:05 start at First Horizon Park.
Businessman special,
there
baby.
You go. So get you some lunch and get out there, or get out there and get you some lunch.
One or the other.
There you go.
Whichever you prefer.
This is your rundown.
All right, there you go. Our top story today, Mo, comes from West Tennessee. What's that?
Is it West Tennessee or is it Memphis? Because I'm not sure that Memphis considers themselves West Tennessee.
And I'm not sure much of Tennessee wants to consider Memphis West Tennessee either.
There's that.
There's a pretty big faction of folks who would just say, that's either North Mississippi or Eastern Arkansas.
East Arkansas.
One of the two.
Yeah. Right.
And they really are just kind of, they're really part of all three. Let's be honest here. I mean, they're just as much part of Arkansas as Mississippi as they are Tennessee. So there you go.
At any rate.
But yes, out of Memphis, Penny Hardaway cleared by the NCAA. Now the Memphis basketball program not necessarily cleared, but Penny will not have to serve any suspensions, or he won't be fined anything.
Penny won't have to serve any suspensions, and Memphis avoided any postseason bans as the IARP arm of the NCAA returned its findings in the Memphis basketball investigation. Those were announced earlier this morning.
And that particular body is you're not able to appeal. It's unappealable. So this is it. This is the
they're
end all
done.
be all.
Yep, it's over with. And so I would imagine everybody in Memphis is, at least happy to have that over with. So they will pay a $5,000 fine in addition to 0.25% of its average men's basketball budget based on the average of the men's basketball program's previous 3 total budgets. I'm reading from the article that is on cbssports.com. Memphis basketball penalties, NCAA violations in recruitment of James Wiseman, not enough for postseason ban is the headline. So,
Hardaway was accused of being involved in 1 level 1 violation and 2 level 2 violations The school acknowledged in November of 2019 that Hardaway, before he became the Tigers coach, had provided $11,500 in moving expenses for star center James Wiseman for his family to relocate from Nashville to Memphis in the summer of 2017. At the time, Hardaway was Wiseman's coach on the EYBL circuit. Then he coached him at East, and this is all part of why Memphis East did have to return the gold ball, but Bernard Childress did not personally go retrieve it.
Which disappoints me. But yeah, I mean, this statement right here explains that. And this CBSSports.com article speaks to the fact that, before Penny Hardaway became men's basketball coach, before he was employed by the university, Hardaway paid $11,500 to help Wiseman's family cover moving expenses from Nashville in order for the Wiseman family to relocate to Memphis. Wiseman finished his high school career at Memphis East High School. It conveniently does not mention that Hardaway was the coach at Memphis East High School at the time. Conveniently.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's very interesting that they went, and I guess maybe it wasn't germane to this article because it's speaking to the fact that given that Hardaway is a prominent Memphis alumnus, he was deemed a booster at the time. Well, this triggered a rule violation. So this is only concerned with the University of Memphis, obviously.
Well, also because he gave $1 million to build a sports hall of fame. That's what the report says, that he was considered a booster by the NCAA due to a $1 million donation that he gave the school in 2008. 2008, a full 10 years before this even happened.
Yeah.
Look, you give them any money at any time, you're a booster. You're a booster.
Yeah.
So there you go. The school said that James Wiseman was unaware of Hardaway's payment to his family.
And and I guess stranger things have happened.
Yeah, no,
I mean, when I was 16 or 17 years old, I don't know how much I knew about my parents' finances.
No, I didn't know.
So, I mean, it's plausible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that I'm just saying that,
yeah,
that's what it says. That Wiseman was like, hey, I mean, I don't know. I thought we just moved. Didn't know how much money it costs to move.
Nobody.
I wouldn't have known.
They just said, pack your room. We're moving to Memphis.
That's exactly what they did. Yeah. Anyway, it's been something. I'm glad it's over at this point now.
And like I said, I'm sure the folks in Memphis are glad it's over.
He was number 2 pick for the Warriors. Let's be honest here. Let's just get this done with.
Yeah.
He's been gone.
They are on probation effective immediately until September 26th of 2025. And the school has to vacate the 2 wins from the 3 games that he participated in November of 19. So I guess as long as they don't have any further infractions between now and September 2025, go and sin no more. It's kind of thing. So
good luck. Memphis opens its season at Vanderbilt November 7th. Yeah. Hardaway is 85-43 in 4 seasons, and they went to the second round of the NCAA tournament last year and almost picked off Gonzaga.
Yeah, and wouldn't have been surprised if they had.
Well, you picked it, so you certainly wouldn't have been surprised.
Not at all. Not at all. So, this IARP 15-person panel that was formed in 2019 and apparently will dissolve in the coming months will also take on the cases of Louisville, Arizona, Kansas, and LSU between now and their dissolution. So stay tuned.
Interesting that why would they, I guess, is this part of the new Constitution that the IARP is gone?
I guess. The Independent Accountability Resolution Process.
That sounds like a good thing. Why are we getting rid of this?
It was suggested By the Rice Commission on College Basketball that was formed after the federal government's sting operation into bribery and fraud in public. So I guess they feel like they have eradicated bribery and fraud, and so there's no need for this.
It's just we no longer have that.
Yeah,
that's not an issue in the NCAA.
Pish posh. Yeah.
If you say so. If you say so. All right. Well,
Hey, who are we to burst anybody's bubbles?
Oh, not me. Not me. All right. Well, if that's the case, then we will say sayonara to this,
To the IARP.
to the IRP, to this Memphis
No
investigation.
relation to the AARP.
There you go. That I'm getting stuff in the mail from now because I'm now officially John Conley years old. Backside of 30, short side of time.
You're getting stuff from the AARP.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm keeping stuff from the AARP.
Well, we say sayonara to the IARP and to this segment as we take a break here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. NUBYJAS Wilburn is scheduled to join us here momentarily, so please stick around. We'll be right back after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, hanging out here in Columbia. Glad to have you guys with us. You know, Mo, every time we get a chance to talk about Auburn football, it's entertaining.
It really is. And I mean, it's just fascinating, man. And that's probably to the chagrin of a lot of Auburn fans, but that's kind of been their place for as long as they were flying to Louisville to talk to coaches while they had coaches and different things like that. I mean, there's always something going on. And our next guest referred to it when we spoke to him down at SEC Media Days as Auburning. And it seems to be a perfect phrase as we bring in NUBYJAS Wilburn of AL.com to join us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. And we talk more about Auburn football in terms of what's going on off the field than we do on, and that's kind of unfortunate, but that's kind of where they are, NUBYJAS.
Well, I mean, the on the field leads to the off the field, or I guess vice versa, one way or the other, depending on how you look at it or what you have to say. I mean, this is a 3-1 ball club. They are 3-1, believe it or not,
and rolling toward an SEC West title, right?
Well, I ain't gonna go that far now.
Oh, okay.
We ain't gonna go there, but I mean, they are, as of right now, undefeated in SEC play. And only have one loss.
That one loss was a doozy, though.
I mean, hey, listen, man. Penn State just beat them up, man. I mean, really.
They should have wore the orange jerseys.
Why? You get buried in them?
Maybe it would have made a difference.
I don't know. And look, man, I'm be honest with you, boys. I was really surprised that Penn State put it on them like that. I wasn't necessarily surprised Auburn lost because, things happen in sports. I knew Penn State was a pretty good team. I just didn't think that Penn State was going to dominate them on both sides, both lines of scrimmage the way they did. That was really what I'd say threw me off guard more than anything watching that game. And unfortunately, offensive line plays would continue to be an issue for Auburn. You saw it rear its ugly head last week in a 17-14 win that, be honest, it wasn't a very inspiring win. I mean, it really just wasn't.
He's not wrong.
I was away from the TV while that was going on. I'm kind of glad I was, I think. But yeah, I mean that's a 17-14 win that has Missouri folks thinking that maybe they need to change coaches, whereas everybody feels like, I mean, we spoke to John Bryce yesterday at footballscoop.com, and he made the comment that Brian Harsin and that Auburn coaching staff are coaching for their lives right now. And it just feels like that's going to be the case every week out for them. I mean, is that just the 30,000 foot view, NUBYJAS, or is that the view right there at ground zero as well?
I mean, it feels as such. I mean, there was scuttlebutt going around that if Harsin loses against Missouri, they might have done it then. And I don't know whether the people were happy that Auburn got the miraculous fumble, there, or what they said. I really don't know. It's just a situation. Now, I don't think it's a fair situation, but, as our friend Stephen A. Smith says, fair is a place where they judge pigs. Okay. And ain't no such thing as fair in this world. It just ain't. But yeah, this is is he the right coach for Auburn? I don't know. But I don't think you can find out in less than 2 seasons, particularly with everything that happened in February. I mean, you kneecap the man, you embarrassed him, you embarrassed his family. Then you bring him back, trying to work all this out. And I just don't know how it works.
Are you trying to work all this out? When you fired the AD, or you ran off the AD who hired him, I mean, are you really trying to make this man comfortable?
Well, make him comfortable depending on what comfort looks like to you. I don't know. It doesn't feel that way. Look, guys, this is weird. I wish I had a better way to describe it other than it just being a bizarre, unfortunate situation that it appears at some point, unless there's something miraculous, which, hey, things happen. Look, they're a 9-point dog against LSU. I just wrote a story going through ESPN's CFPI ratings where it has Auburn 54, but it has LSU at 7, and talk about Auburn's offensive efficiency. And so basically you can go through advanced analytics, as they call them, or advanced stats analytics. You can go to the counting numbers, and there are a lot of things that just don't look good for the Auburn football team right now. Oh, and by the way, you had to play your 4th-string quarterback last week for a little bit.
Let's calm down on the FPI rankings. They have Texas A&M number 33 and then Miami number 32, and A&M beat Miami. So I don't even know how good the FPI makes sense. How much sense does it really make?
Well, I mean, as far I would say this, as far as with the actual numbers, it's relative.
Yeah.
What I like to look at is I like to go a little further, the efficiencies versus non-efficiencies and how those rank, what those metrics say, and then compare it back to actual stats. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean, either way, the point is there's not a lot of confidence. I mean, it really doesn't feel like this is a 3-1 team, but they are.
No, it doesn't. But the thing is, they're probably not favored in a single game the rest of the year.
I think Western Kentucky's the only one from
Western
going on.
Kentucky.
Yeah. And by the way, you know, the hardest strength of schedule in the country still. I mean, you think about
Sure.
it. So.
Well, the SEC West.
Sure.
And then you add in Penn State and all else that goes in with that. But the reason that we wanted to have you on is the rumors circulating that Prime Time was in town on Saturday.
Well, if he was, I didn't see him. Not saying he was or wasn't. I can't confirm or deny that. I'm pretty sure didn't Jackson State have a football game that day?
I don't know.
That would be a good place to start looking, I guess.
And it may not have been Saturday. Maybe it was Sunday that they were saying he was in town. I'm not sure.
Or Saturday night after the game. I don't know. Yeah, they played Valley on Saturday and won 49-7. I don't know what time that game started, but in the 3-hour ball game would have still left him time to be in Auburn theoretically.
Well,
I
Auburn
guess
started at kicks. They kicked at 11. So maybe he was there, then went to the game.
I can't imagine. Goodness.
like I said, listen. If he was here in the city, I didn't see him. I hadn't heard anything about that. You never know. I mean, this is a school that one time, tried to hire a coach while the other coach is still there, while the other coach also had another job. So, I mean, would it surprise me? No. Now, I will say this. People have asked me this, do I think Auburn would hire Prime? I actually did a little talking to some people. I don't think Auburn would be as opposed to as people would think. Now, would they actually do it? I don't know. Because the continuous thing has been you want somebody who has SEC experience. Okay, obviously Deion didn't have that. However, Deion can recruit from what I've been told. I mean, his recruiting class is like number 77 in the country, which doesn't sound like that much. You remember it's HBCU. And so when you're
and an FCS program.
Program, and your recruiting class is in the top 80, okay? Now, he killed it in the transfer portal, getting kids who didn't work at, Power 5 schools and getting them down there, but you got them there. Mm-hmm. And you got to think, if you give Deion the resources and facilities of an Auburn with who he already is, hey, man, it could be sky's the limit. Because one thing about Auburn, I will give them this. Auburn's got its flaws now. And I can point them out all day, all night. And they got them, and they know they got them. But they will spend the money.
Oh, there's no question there.
I think, though, the question may not necessarily be would Auburn hire Deion Sanders as much as would Deion Sanders go to Auburn?
Well,
that I think is the biggest question.
I think I'll be honest with you. I think it would depend on, for Deion to work, Deion appears to be the type of guy who doesn't want a lot of interference and meddling. He don't like people really telling him what to do and how to do it, okay?
And that ain't going to fit in all.
No, that's not that. When you talk about fits, that's not. And now, I think Brian Harsin is finding that to be the case.
Well, but I mean, I will say this: Brian Harsin, did come from Boise. It's a little different than Deion coming from.
That's true.
Well, being Deion, okay.
You know what you're getting with Deion.
Yeah.
Now,
for better or for worse.
Now, I will also say,
because Prime.
I will also say, Auburn people don't necessarily take too kindly to people who are very flashy, if you will.
Look, Auburn is a different breed. They are, and I'm going to say this
as an Alabama native, you have some insight into that.
I will say that and liken it to a program like Notre Dame in that they feel like the Auburn supporters are a little bit brighter. They're a little bit smarter than your average Alabama resident typically. Auburn supporters have a little bit more of a chest stuck out because they went to Auburn. They're an Auburn man. And it's very Southern gentlemanly kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that, like you just said, by somebody who comes in and wants to be flashy may not be their style, but it's worked for Bruce Pearl.
Well,
that's a different level.
It is, but that's the kind of the kind of
Bruce
emotion
Pearl ain't put out a must be the money video.
No, I'm just saying.
I mean,
but Bruce is a little more interactive and entertainment-y than other
than
coaches
Auburn is
have.
used to.
Yes, and I think that may be the top of the this is what we can expect level, or we can tolerate level.
Yeah, that might be about it. But even then, Bruce Pearl had to win a whole lot to get it there. I mean,
that's right. You got to win.
Bruce has become a great Auburn ambassador. I think he does a lot of wonderful things. He's got a little bit of car salesman to him, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
a little bit.
Hey, I'm just saying, maybe a lot, but hey, everybody's got to get it how they live, okay? And that's how Bruce Pearl gets it. I mean, he definitely is a very interesting guy. Also, but Bruce Pearl kind of leans into some other things that, you go on his Twitter feed and you might see some things that, depending on what you believe, you might not agree with. But I just don't know. I just don't know if Deion will work at Auburn. I would like to see it. I think he'd be fun to cover. I put I like it. I mean, listen, I think he'd be fun to cover. I think he would recruit very well because regardless of whatever, if someone does come in, and I'm still saying if here, I'm not going to just put the nail in Carson's coffin as of yet. Until they do it, he's still the Auburn football coach. But if they were to look towards someone, you do have to look at this roster, and there needs to be some overturning. Auburn right now, if you look, you know how these things go, right? Those 5 stars matter, okay? Whether they should or shouldn't, they matter. And Auburn don't got a whole lot of them. Georgia does. So does Alabama. And now Tennessee is on its way back up. You know what I'm saying? And Auburn has to be very careful, okay? Because today you are still a little brother to Alabama, okay? And I know nobody likes being a little brother, but sometimes little brother wins, okay? Now, if you're not careful, you're going to go from being a little brother to a stepchild over there.
That's true. Look, we've talked about this. You can become Nebraska. Nebraska can happen if you're not careful with what you do.
That's kind of the cautionary tale right there. Speaking with NUBYJAS Wilborn of AL.com here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. You mentioned Auburn is a dog at home, right, against LSU this weekend.
9 points, yeah, according to most books, yeah.
Robbie Ashford got the start last week against Missouri, the 4th-string quarterback. Do any of these guys get back anytime soon? What's the prognosis on Finley, on Calzada, and whoever else was ahead of Robbie?
Well, we have reported that I think On 3 had it first, and we were able to confirm it that Calzada is having a season-ending injury. Brian Harsin has not confirmed that as of now, and Calzada has not talked publicly as of, I guess, what is it, 2:34 Central Time today. TJ Finley, last week, I reported, or AL.com, we reported, we got it, that Finley was not going to be available for the Missouri game. And I'm not certain if he's going to be available for the LSU game. Apparently, he's got shoulder injuries, and they got pretty bad. And I'm not sure if he's going to be available for that game. Okay.
He dressed against Missouri. I don't even know. Why do you have shoulder pads on?
Said, why did he or why didn't he?
Why did he?
Look, man, I don't know, man. I mean, because the thing is, all right, man, Hey, football's weird sometimes. And sometimes if you're trying to keep discipline, I guess you do it. You make them dress, or you try to do that thing where you confuse the other team. And because here's the other part too. We remember how I just mentioned that Auburn's a favorite, right? Well, in the NFL, you would know if there's an injury because they have to tell you in the NFL. Why? Well, we know why. Okay. At some point, that same why is going to happen in college football. You won't have things anymore. Particularly if that continues to grow and the access to said thing continues to grow. Because it used to be betting on college sports is frowned upon. It's not as much anymore. Gambling in general is more openly talked about. I still have my conflicts with that, which we can get into on a whole other show at another time, maybe. I just have conflicts with people betting on, but anyway, we ain't got to go to. But the point is Auburn comes to this game as a 9-point dog, and part of it is because of the uncertainty at quarterback. Most likely, I think Robbie Ashford will start. TJ Finley is listed as or on the depth chart that is there, and then Holden Grenier, who was a 4-string quarterback, who actually did play in the game. Because, by the way, Ashford did get hurt in that game, okay, for a little bit. Yes. He came out, and then they put in the freshman Holden Grenier. So now –
terrible.
Well, I mean, he's a freshman. I mean,
I mean, they were already bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like freshmen getting your first SEC action. You know what I'm saying? First game. Now,
it could have been worse. Could have been not Missouri.
Yeah, could have been not Missouri.
Could have been not Missouri. You're right.
And so, you look at it all, and then you really wonder what's going on with Auburn at quarterback. I guess it's going to be Ashford. Maybe Finley gets back. I guess eventually we'll find out something on Calzada, something official on Calzada. Harsin has said he only talks about injuries when it's season ending, or I guess guys in trouble, or like an extended. So, for instance, Auburn's going to be on the 3rd-string center going forward, with Tate Johnson being out for 6 to 8 weeks. The starting center, Nick Brahms, had to medically retire. And, so your two most important positions, you're playing 2nd and 3rd stringers.
That's tough.
Yeah. Other than that, everything else is fine.
And so we're blaming all of Auburn's issues on Brian Harsin. Oh, by the way, we're playing 2nd and 3rd stringers, and we're 3-1 with an SEC win.
I mean,
it's a ish with an asterisk. Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's difficult, man, because there are legitimate complaints about Brian Harsin. Okay, they are legitimate. Also, you know how this goes.
Yep.
You know how this goes, and how this ends. I think we all can see. I hope it works out for Brian. I really do, because I think he's gotten an unfair rap. I think that some of the critiques have been a little too harsh too soon. But unfortunately, he's in a situation where right now your recruiting class is ranked number 56th in America. Now, that can change. And also, the transfer portal will open up again. You'll get some opportunities there. They had a bunch of recruits in for the Penn State game, but you saw how that went. So, hey, man, I mean, they're just in a tough spot, man. I mean, but again, listen, Brian Harsin this season will make more money than Pat Dye made in his whole career. Now, of course, that's the change in economics and sports and all the other things. But just saying, Pat Dye didn't make $6 million throughout his whole coaching career.
Let me drop this on you, NUBYJAS, and you will recognize it. More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. So in one way, it's kind of hard to pity a man making that much money and with his athletic physique, right? It's like in one way, it's kind of hard to pity a man like that. However, he's really in a no-win situation, because let's just say even if they would have beat Penn State, that wouldn't have got him off the hot seat. Well, you're supposed to be them. They're in the Big Ten. You're SEC. They could be 4-0. He'd still be on the hot seat.
Oh, there's no question. Because, listen, we as media did not pick Auburn to finish last in the SEC
for nothing.
West for no reason.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and one of those reasons is because Auburn is Auburn, and they're going to do something to Auburn. They just are. Whether it's firing Brian Harsin in the middle of the season, whether it's
firing Alan Green before the season starts.
I mean,
yeah.
And so, who knows, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, by the way, and it's also funny how, like, that thing has been totally glossed over. Show me times in which the athletic director leaves a week before the football season starts.
Never.
None. Not never, as Cat Williams would say.
So, I mean, like, what are we doing here? Seriously. I mean, and it is hard because, listen, the majority of Auburn fans, I think, are wonderful people who are very well-intended, who care about, like, you know, family and friends, and they want to watch a winning football team. And yeah, you got some crazies because that exists in every bank, but the majority, I would say, my interactions are fairly pleasant, good people, okay? But the school, man, and the people and everybody, which is what Chris hit on. The thing with Auburn is everybody loves Auburn, which also means everybody has input, which is great until somebody has to be accountable for it. When that accountability light comes on, it's like roaches. They scatter.
NUBYJAS WILBORN of AL.com with us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee boneandjoint.com. NUBYJAS, as always, appreciate you and have fun.
I do my best, man. Thank y'all so much for having me, man.
All right.
Always. It's never not entertaining.
No.
It's just
no.
not.
I mean, to be here in Southern Middle Tennessee, we could do an Auburn segment every week.
I swear we could, and it would never get boring. It's so crazy. That place is wild. And I mean, half my family are Auburn fans. And
makes family gatherings fun, I'm sure.
Lord, you should see. My mom just gave up. She was just like, I'm just not watching this crap anymore. I'm doing something else in my life.
This crap from this 3-1 team, as NUBYJAS pointed out.
Yeah, I'm I'm done with trying to think about it. So that's how Auburn fans are. They're like, Auburn fans and Cowboys fans are willingly putting themselves through it. And what's so crazy is I know a lot of Auburn fans who are Cowboy fans.
Wow.
And it's like, how? How do you do this?
Willingly.
I tweeted, I don't know, in week 2, maybe. It's like, Auburn is so frustrating to watch. I don't know how Auburn fans do it every week. I mean, I was watching the game, and I'm just like, this is frustrating. And it's not because of anything more than it's just a mess. Every week, it feels like. So, anyway, let's take a break. We're going to talk a little bit about the Pro Bowl coming up and whatever.
Or a lack of.
Or lack of a Pro Bowl. Yeah. So, stick around here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, back after this.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is, you know, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's, you know, we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So, you know, whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're gonna have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton. Oh, that was a fun segment.
It was, man. Well, one, it's always fun to get in the bias on.
Yeah, he's great.
2, Auburn's never not entertaining, regardless. I mean,
unless you're an Auburn fan, in which case they are frustrating.
Frustratingly entertaining.
That is a great way to put it. There's no question there. So, yeah, if you're an Auburn fan, you missed that segment. Sorry. Go back and watch it because it's worth it. Trust us.
You may not enjoy all of it, but it'll be worth the listen.
Oh, yeah, no question. No question. Well, Mo, let's talk a little bit about the announcement that the Pro Bowl will be no longer.
The Pro Bowl games.
Pro Bowl games.
NFL ends Pro Bowl skills competition flag game instead is the headline on the Associated Press story by Rob Maaddi, Maaddi, today.
That's a heck of a name.
I think he covers the Eagles, maybe. I think he's based out of Philadelphia. We'll have to ask Teresa about that when we get her on again. The NFL has eliminated its full contact all-star game and is replacing it with week-long skills competitions and a flag football game. The new event will be renamed the Pro Bowl Games and will feature AFC and NFC players showcasing their football and non-football skills and challenges over several days. The 2023 games will be held in Vegas. Flag football game in Allegiant Stadium on February 5th, 1 week before the Super Bowl. So there's going to be, again, the 2-week layoff between the conference championships and the Super Bowl, and that's where that'll fall.
Okay, so non-football skills competition. I'm okay with this if we can find out who's the best baker.
You never know, because Peyton Manning and his Omaha Productions Company will help shape programming and promote the event's content throughout the week. Manning, a 14-time Pro Bowl pick during his Hall of Fame career, will provide his perspective and will also be a part of the coaching staff for the flag game.
I was really hoping to see Chris Hughes on that staff.
And flag football, I don't know why he wouldn't be.
Well, I mean, they already have the flag football championship that weekend, don't they? Isn't that part of it?
The NFL has a major interest in flag football. The league partnered with the International Federation of American Football to bring flag football to the World Games in July with an eye on the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Chris Hughes, Olympian?
Please no.
We could never deal with Chris Hughes
Lord have mercy.
Olympic gold medalist Chris Hughes.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Oh, good Lord.
Look,
it doesn't say what the skills competitions are going to be, obviously, I guess, because they're still figuring out what they're going to be. But
they already had the skills like showcases, right, where quarterbacks go and throw it into nets and things like that. And that's kind of cool. I don't mind watching that, whatever. The game was just awful. I still think that you should 100% put the worst two teams in each conference on the field and play for the number 1 overall pick. To me, I mean, yeah, I know they've been off for 3 weeks, whatever. Who cares?
It'd be a lot more entertaining than whatever other game they put out there.
Anything better than that. I don't get it. So, or have a worst of playoffs and have the worst 6 teams play the playoffs. I'm for that. Yeah, I mean, you see here, I mean, these are the kind of skills competitions that you're going to see. Is quarterbacks are going to, try to throw it into
moving targets and
moving
that kind of thing.
And, I remember when Vince Young hit the back corner pylon one time, and folks just went nuts. So, not that to me, I feel like a NFL quarterback that should be a everyday throw. But, dude, I don't know. It's useless.
The Pro Bowl in
general is just useless.
Well, and I mean, put yourself in the player's shoes, though. I mean, I get it. I'm not going out there and get hurt in that situation.
No, absolutely not.
But I mean, I almost think it would be better to just say, you know what, I'm just not coming.
Yeah, opt out.
It's not like it hasn't happened before, right?
There you go. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just I'm not a big fan, but we'll let them do what they do.
Well, it's the NFL. I mean, whatever they do is gonna draw attention. Clearly,
sure.
So
I mean, ratings for the Pro Bowl game is not great, but if you're just doing skills competitions and all you're doing is putting them on NFL Network just to have, content. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Sounds good. Let's do it. So anyway, let's just get off that because I'd rather just talk about the Braves and Bryce Elder.
Well, yes. And I mean, as I was sitting there watching it last night, it's like of all the pitchers this year who've had a chance to go the distance, it's a spot starter who has been up and back between Atlanta and Gwinnett all year. But I mean, man, he was so economical with his pitches. He earned the right, but there are other guys that have. I mean, Max Fried's been in position on a couple of occasions, I think, to throw the CG and didn't get the opportunity. And I guess the stars just aligned. I don't know, but it
probably had to do with him being up 8-0.
Oh, I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. Against Washington.
And no days off, so you give your bullpen a chance to rest. A lot of things lined up perfectly.
A lot of things did line up, and man, did he take advantage of it?
Outside of the 6th inning, in the 6th inning, he had 21 pitches, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, was as efficient as you could possibly be.
And that 9th.
It's hard to argue.
I mean, shoot, he could have went back out there for a 10th if need be, but obviously there was no need. But those back-to-back call third strikes on the backup sinkers were what I saw them refer to as later. That started off the plate and came back and hit the outside corner down. Those were nasty.
If you can make that pitch work, you can pitch in the big leagues
for a long time. Yes, sir. Yeah. And I mean, wouldn't be surprised to see Bryce Elder in the postseason.
At this point,
in fact, I think I would rather see him
than
certainly Odorizzi and possibly Morton.
Based off of the last 2 months of both of their performances, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, again, Elder's not pitched against anybody of note. But
60 feet 6 inches is 60 feet 6 inches, though. I mean, it's like the point that Paul Bird made during the course of the game last night. You see so many of these AAA pitchers come up, and I covered the Sounds for a long time. I got the chance to kind of pick a lot of guys' brains, and one of them was Darryl Knowles, who pitched for a long time with the Oakland A's, among others, in the majors. And I asked him for an article I was working on once, what do you tell these guys when they go up? And it's exactly what Paul Bird said last night. Keep doing what you're doing. What you've done to get there is good enough to keep you there if you keep doing it. And guys either overthrow or get too fine or both. And all of a sudden they either start getting hit or they start walking people. If you do what you did to earn the call up, you're probably going to be okay. And clearly Elder kind of took that to heart, because he's been really impressive in 3 starts here now over the last
4. He's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw a stat today from just a random Twitter account that the Atlanta Braves are 8 games from completing a 162 game season without a sacrifice bunt. It has never been done in Major League history.
I would take yes. I would take that will take place. I mean, small ball is not in this team's repertoire.
Who's going to bunt it? Who would you want to bunt it? There's nobody on the in the entire lineup any given day that I would say, okay, we need to bunt this guy.
You know what? I bet Michael Harris II could get a bunt.
I didn't say could. I said, but I would rather him swing. Is there anybody in the lineup you would rather bunt than swing?
In this lineup, no. Now, last year, every catcher I would rather have had bunt. But yeah, so often the bunt is, as much as anything, a defense mechanism to try to keep you out of the double play. I don't know how many double plays this team has hit into, but I mean,
probably not many.
But to your point, you'd rather have most of these. What in the world? For the most part, you'd rather have most of these guys swinging the bat.
Absolutely.
So,
because if I've got a guy on first, instead of getting out, I'm expecting a 2-run jack
or a double in a gap
at least.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Anyway.
I mean but I mean, it's almost like when we watch the Mets, it's like we don't recognize the game that they're playing.
No, it's like
what is this?
Doing? That is very.
Can
odd.
you do that?
Are you allowed to just put your bat out there like that
and just let the ball hit it twice in a row? Yeah.
Who did that? It was the Nationals that did that against the Braves in the 9th inning against
Oh yeah.
Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked almost. So,
yeah. And there's the thing. I mean, even if we're not going to bunt it, we need to work on our bunt defense a little bit, I think. So
there's a double play right there where they hit into. Could have used the sack bunt to put him on second and third and avoided 2 outs there.
Yeah.
What the heck?
No, that
right.
wasn't the double play because Meneses dropped the ball. That's what opened the floodgates.
That's exactly right. But would have been a double play.
It should have been.
Had second.
Should have been an inning ending double play. Yeah.
Instead, it was 5 runs in the 6th.
Yeah. Yeah. We like that.
We'll take it every time. Take it every time. All right, that's going to do it for this Braves segment. We've got to get to this day in Braves history. So take it away, Mo.
September 27, 2002, John Smith got the final 4 outs of Atlanta's 3-1 win over the host Mets in the opening game of the doubleheader, striking out 3 to grab his 54th save of the year. The 54 saves broke a National League record of 53 previously set by Randy Myers with the 1993 Chicago Cubs and tied by Trevor Hoffman with the 98 San Diego Padres.
That might have been 93 might have been the year that I saw the Randy Myers blown save. Because what year did Bonds go to the Giants?
can't remember if it was 90. No, it was 94 that Bonds went to the Giants.
And that's when I saw him because
Yeah.
it was against the Giants.
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I might have seen
a piece of his a
little sliver.
angle.
Little
Yeah.
sliver.
History.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Chip Walters joins us right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Time now to talk a little. For the next half hour, we'll be talking about upsets. Probably.
Yeah.
So Top 5 Tuesday coming up here shortly, and we will be talking about the top 5 upsets we have experienced as fans. So we'll get into that. But let's get into the most recent one as we bring in the voice of the Blue Raiders, Chip Walters. Chip joining us here from Murfreesboro.
Now, I can tell you, having listened to some clips from Saturday's broadcast, I was kind of concerned about what shape
his voice
would be in today. Chip, how you holding up?
Doing good. It was a fun weekend, and you know, there's always a lot of, when something like that happens, there's always some good fallout from it. And goes Zaylen Wood into the end zone right there. He was named the Bronco Nagurski National Player of the Week today, among being Conference USA Player of the Week. But Coach Stock has been a busy person. He was on Jim Rome today. He was on with Childers and Neuheisel yesterday morning. So he's had plenty of interviews, and I've had several myself. So it's fun. And now to get ready for a short week and a really, really good UTSA team.
Well, it's not the Bronco Nagurski Award, but Zaylen Wood was also named the Tennessee Sports Writers Association's Defensive Player of the Year and
of the week.
Just
go ahead and give it to him.
Yeah, there you go. Of the week. And quarterback Chase Cunningham earned offensive honors as well from the TSWA. I mean, again, it's not the Bronco Nagurski, but there's another accolade for those two guys.
Play of the game coming right here.
Oh yeah,
and not only just the play of the game, but called ahead of time by your partner.
That's right.
Take a shot.
Yeah, he's Jeff Murphy earning his spurs here early in his first season by making the calls.
Yeah, and pulling the Tony Romo right there, huh?
Exactly. And it was, I loved. I don't know if you caught it because you're a track guy as well. Did you notice DJ England Chisholm?
Yes.
At the end, as soon as he crossed the goal line there with the track finish.
Yes, I did see that. I actually saw that live. But yeah, that's Chip, the thing about this ball game, what I keep coming back to, and I was in line at Dickie's Barbecue up in Cool Springs yesterday, and somebody saw my MTSU t-shirt on, and we got to talking about the game. And this was a 4-quarter thing. I mean, going back to Stock's post-game comments, this was no fluke, man. This was a butt whipping from the first minute to the 60th minute. And as I was telling Chris yesterday, I kept waiting for Miami's athleticism. I kept waiting for Miami's size up front. I kept waiting for something to kick it, some advantage that they came into the game with to come to the fore, and it never did.
That's right. I think we matched their athleticism. I was concerned about how athletic some of their big guys were going to be. That was my biggest concern, and we handled that pretty well. The last 3 weeks, Middle has gotten either a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown in the first quarter, and that has seemed to really, whether it's light a fire, instill confidence, whatever metaphor you want to put in there. But, it has been a catalyst for good things to happen. And, and against Miami, here is the preseason ACC, all ACC quarterback, and you intercept him on his first 2 plays and first 2 throws rather. And one of them's a pick six. And the thing was, his confidence was shot after that, and he was throwing behind people and all kinds of things. And when the Boo Birds came out, and it did not take them long to do that, they were on him pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, he had just taken a shot at him earlier that week.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Van Dyke said that he liked playing on the road better because the atmosphere was better, and Miami's home atmosphere stunk.
Ooh.
Well.
So yeah, they were certainly ready to put him at any point. Any
they just needed an excuse, and he gave it to him.
He needed an opportunity, and he certainly gave them one, and a few actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
First win for MTSU over a top 25 team in the history of the program, and Middle was a 26-point underdog going into this game. I mean, Chip, obviously hope springs eternal, and you go into every game feeling like you can win it, but realistically, what was your expectation going into this?
I don't know that I expected to go in and win. I did expect Middle to anytime you talk about things like that, there are a lot of ifs in there. And mine was, if Middle could continue to run the ball some, that would keep things that would keep Chase a little safer because they couldn't just line up. But when they started and lined up playing man to man, and Middle knew that they could match their speed, and that they felt strongly that they had receivers that could get behind their secondary and make plays, and they did. You had 4 plays of 65 plus yards in the ball game. As a matter of fact, Coach Stock talked about it last night. He goes, we always want to win the big plays. He goes, actually, Miami had 8 big plays or explosive plays in their definition is either a 12-plus yard run or a 16-plus yard pass. And he said Miami had 8, we had 7. He goes, but our 7 were much bigger than their 8. And as it turned out, that was a big thing. Also, the thing with when Middle wins the turnover battle, it's just how crazy lopsided their record is to the positive. And so this has been a team the last couple of years that's turned the football over a lot and given it back to the offense. Last year 32 times, and off to a good start this year. Did I expect to go in and win? I can't say that I did, but I didn't think we were going to get blown out down there because just because of a lot of the things that we've talked about already.
Well, I think that's kind of, when we talked last week, Chip, it was, talking about the undefeated record that Middle held over Miami. Of course, they're back in the 30s, but it was kind of said
the tone had been set.
It was
by guys riding on a train. That's right.
Tongue in cheek and kind of in jest that, hey, we've not even been scored on. What are you talking about? But when you left there, you felt like, Middle Tennessee State's still a better program.
Well, and what's funny is there's another one of those out there too, in that Rice has never beaten or Alabama has never beaten Rice. So there's that. So now Miami winning against Miami, which again we've already done, but again back in the 30s. But that's the second program that is a national champion or has a national championship in its past that Middle's beaten, Miami and Georgia Tech. That's kind of like the other great bar bet as far as Middle athletics is concerned. Who's the only basketball program in the country that's undefeated all time against Kentucky and UCLA? And so that'll win you a beer somewhere if you know that. So,
well, speaking of being undefeated, Middle Tennessee State is undefeated since we got the mini helmets.
Well,
they're 2-0.
They're 2-0. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it ain't. That's right.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's it. Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Point. Chip, we should turn our attention, and hopefully the Blue Raiders already have, to this Friday night matchup against UTSA. As you mentioned earlier, coming on a short week. That's a Friday night game. And you and I have both seen this program clock big wins. Georgia Tech, Maryland, Syracuse, what have you, out of conference, and then not come back and build on it in conference. How do we get this team to make this past Saturday matter this Friday night?
Well, and that's a good question. And I think this team is just going to have to answer that, because this team, they'll tell you they're not last year's team. They're not 10 years ago team. This team, they've got a little something to them. Not that the others did not, but I think one of the things that may be helpful is that it is Friday night, and you don't necessarily have that extra day in there. I can tell you this: on Sunday, I mean, we got back on They got back on campus about midnight, a little after on Saturday night,
and had a reception party.
Had folks out there waiting on them, which was great. And but the equipment truck drove back from Miami 15 hours. It got to campus about noon, and I went by at 1 o'clock to pick up my equipment box that was on the truck. And here's the guys in pads and shorts and helmets heading out to the practice field. So, and from what I have understood is that they had one of the best Sunday practices they ever had, because they've now taken, as of several years ago, they've gone to the NFL practice schedule where they'll come in and practice and do corrections day after they play, and then take the next day off typically. But this week, everything is kind of crammed in. That extra day is gone. So, I think they had to turn their attention very quickly. And they also understand that UTSA has gotten them the last 2 years. 2 years ago in 2020, Middle played at the Alamo Dome in a non-conference game because we weren't scheduled to play UTSA, but Memphis had to cancel due to COVID. We had a cancellation from somebody, Charlotte or whoever, but we were it all worked out where Middle could the plane that Middle and Memphis used the same plane people, and we just kind of took over their spot in the hotel, and it all worked out. So we went down there for that, and then went back for a conference game last year, and we're getting clocked at halftime. That's when Bailey Hockman was taken out of the game and Chase Cunningham was inserted, and it came back to be a one-score game. And so Middle made a furious comeback against them last year. And I'll tell you another person who wants to beat UTSA pretty bad. That's Brent Stockstill, because the last time that UTSA played in Murfreesboro was the night when they tore up his shoulder. So I think the Raiders have some. They've got some juice for this one. It's going to be a national platform. Getting back home, it's going to be another big crowd. It looks like we do have Oakland and Blackman playing, which I don't like Friday night games, but you have to play them when the league tells you to play them. I'd rather play it on Thursday, but it's still going to be a really, really big crowd. It looks like, and the weather has the forecast has just gotten better and better. It's going to be like 73 on Friday with no rain. Any rain on the weekend is going to come sometime midday Saturday or later. So anyway, that's where that is.
I have a high school football game to go to on Friday night because it's kind of what I do. And it's unfortunate, but I'll tell you, anybody who doesn't have anything to do, doesn't have a high school team that they've got an allegiance to, get to Murfreesboro Friday night. This team really deserves it. I mean, it sounds kind of sappy, but they just went and beat the number 25 team in the country on the road. They deserve a big crowd on Friday night. UTSA is a great program. They got a great coach. They've done some really good stuff, and they are going to be a heck of a challenge Friday night.
I'll say this is we beat the better brand last Saturday. This Friday, we're playing the better team.
That's a heck of a point.
And they're coming off and
if
having played Texas, their state school all the way to the wire, there's probably some mental stuff there. They're probably a little hung over from that. And then you got a short week.
But I tell you what, if you think Jeff Traylor hasn't told these kids, this team just beat Miami on the road, guys. Right. If you think that's not being discussed in San Antonio, you're fooling yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
he also made the comment at his press conference on Monday that he goes, well, apparently we gave Middle's quarterback his start last year, got him going. I hope he appreciates it.
Well,
okay.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or if it's a jab, or
I'm not sure exactly what that. Yeah, but
that's an interesting comment.
At any rate, like you said, I think there will be plenty of juice for MTSU going into this ball game on Friday night, and hopefully, like I said. And I say we because I got the ring. That's right. I don't back away from it, and we'll probably see more of it in this next segment. But I hope we can build on this because this is a great time for Middle, and we saw some upsets earlier this year along these lines that didn't necessarily the next week didn't necessarily back them up. So hopefully the Blue Raiders can. Chip.
Yeah, and in the way that the schedule falls in Conference USA, there were no favors given. to Middle this year. You want to keep that momentum going, and because you've got the defending league champs coming in here on Friday night, then next week you go to Birmingham to take on the team that was also in the championship game and who's really good in UAB. And then the following week is homecoming, and you've got Western Kentucky. And those three teams in that order were picked 1, 2, 3 in the preseason poll. And it's like, hey guys, we were the school that stayed. Why are you doing that to us?
Well, there you go. Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chip, as always, we appreciate you. Have a good night Friday night.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Talk to y'all soon.
All righty.
All right, we're going to jump in, take a quick break here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. So you guys stick around with us here. We're going to take a quick break here and come back with Top 5 Tuesday right here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. All right, it is Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here. And we are going to dive right in because Top 5 Tuesday is brought to you by our friends at Mid-South 5 Fitness. You can check them out at steelathletes.com, Steel, S-T-E-E-L, athletes.com. They have two great locations, one right here in Columbia, one in Franklin. Thal is still in the game, taking care of you at Steel Athletes on Instagram. Today's top 5 will be the top 5 upsets that we've experienced as fans on the positive side. So,
well, top 5 upsets, not bottom 5
that's
upsets.
Right, top 5, not bottom 5.
Yeah.
That's correct. So here we go. I'll start it this week. I don't normally start it, so I'll do that. And please, you have to remember that until 1995, I was a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And in 1990,
before you saw the error of your ways, or what?
Before I turned 10 years old. I mean, you got to remember, I was 10 when I was
a diehard Brett Favre fan for a while. So, in light of recent news, it's not a really good look right now.
no question. But January 1st, 1993, maybe one of the biggest upsets in SEC history, when the Crimson Tide went to New Orleans and took down Miami. 36-13.
Nice.
Justin, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is this is a minute and 34 seconds. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but it's just the whole premise of when the 2017 Predators swept the Blackhawks in the first series. Yeah. Just because, nobody thought they were going to do it, and they made it to the
Who saw this coming? The Nashville Predators are looking to sweep the Chicago Blackhawks. It would be the first sweep in Predators franchise history. Meanwhile, the Hawks have not been swept since 1993. First period, Predators on the power play. Roman Jossi's shot goes off the boards right to Victor Arvidsson, but check out the save by Corey Crawford later in the period. Philip Forsberg.
Yeah, that was big time.
That was huge.
It really was.
Yeah,
that was for not just for the Predators, but for this town.
Mm-hmm.
Right. People started congregating pretty hard after that.
For sure.
If they weren't already.
My number 5, and as I mentioned in the previous segment, for those that don't know, I'm an MTSU grad. So, yeah, go figure, right? Yeah. So, 1989 NCAA basketball tournament, number 13 Middle Tennessee State lines up against number 4 seed Florida State in the opening round at Memorial Gym and walks out with a 97-83 victory.
Have you seen the new court
at Vanderbilt?
Yes.
Is it nice?
The V is absolutely massive.
On the floor?
Yeah.
So they're all in on the new V, huh?
I mean, I promise you, like it might be 3 feet off of each sideline. It's insane.
That's fantastic. I love it. Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is going to go back to 2001. Down goes Nick Saban in Baton Rouge, UAB, with the field goal to win it. How about that?
Very
Nick
nice.
Hayes, baby. Nick Hayes, who would later become a Birmingham Steel Dog.
Well, there you go. There's always a Steel Dog connection,
Always.
right?
Just about. Just about.
I mean, if you're an athlete in a pro sport, you definitely have one.
Yeah. Justin, your number 4?
My number 4 is just because it was the Bills, and just because we got completely smacked by them last Monday. I would like to just bring this up to everybody, or make everybody remind them that we beat them on 4th and 1, and Josh Allen said he slipped.
Quote unquote.
Could be the ball game. 4th and 1. Allen leans forward, and I don't think he got there. Josh Allen looked like he slipped down.
So yeah,
he was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And like Mo just said, yeah, you slipped because there's a 98. Hey, number 98's about 500 pounds, and he's ready to stop you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 4?
My number 4, 2012, Bobby Dodd Stadium, MTSU 49, Georgia Tech 28. That was a big game out of Benny Cunningham, who was one of the great MTSU running backs.
I remember that. The highlights from that. Those solid.
Yep.
Solid.
Nice.
Middle has a thing about ACC teams. Miami, Georgia Tech, Maryland.
It happens.
So yeah.
I guess it starts at the locker room, I guess, because how do you get that? I don't know. Just how do you get rowdy to really go in there and think you're going to win? You know, I guess you just hope for the best, right?
I mean, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And if you do 1.5 mil to come through,
You have nothing to lose. Just don't get hurt, basically.
Yeah. Number 3?
Not number 3, Braves. World Series and NLCS last year, they just upset Kings of October. As
The
Joe
upset
Biden,
Kings of October.
as Joe Biden so eloquently quipped.
There you go. Yeah. Just all the games.
All of them.
All the games were upsets. Yeah.
Even the ones we lost.
Justin, number 3?
my number 3 is the so when Kevin Byard just made everybody aware that we are good in prime time, and then we can beat any team, and then the next week we lost to the Jets.
4-man rush, and that's going to be picked off at the 24 by Byard for the touchdown.
Middle Tennessee State connection.
There you go. There you go. In fact, they will be retiring his number at MTSU Friday night.
Love that man.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Number
Got
3.
INT last Sunday too.
Yeah. My number 3, 15 seeded MTSU takes on number 2 seed Michigan State in the opening round of the 2016 NCAA tournament. Giddy up. Giddy Potts and company knocking off the Spartans 90-81 over in St. Louis. One of the more recent number 2 defeats in the NCAAs. So that's my number 3, and it probably could have been higher, but 1 and 2 are pretty good.
Well, here's my number 2.
Now, see, these guys are a lot more technologically inclined. I don't get to show clips, but that's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Show your number 2.
Tusculum,
Tusculum.
Tusculum right?
I don't
know.
the
I don't
T's
know how to say it. Is it
No, it's Tusculum.
Tusculum.
Yeah.
Alum Tony Colston for the Tennessee Valley Vipers
Oh,
in
Lord.
overtime makes a
Oh,
great
the
throw.
Arena League.
Dude catches it off the wall on his leg, right?
Wait.
And then Colston takes the snap. Nobody open. Decides to run the 2-point conversion. Dives in.
Fumbling and fumbling.
Tennessee Valley wins, and you know who that is right there, number 85?
Who's that?
There's always a Middle Tennessee State connection. Jamel Franklin of Franklin's Fruit Teas.
Oh,
baby.
wow. There we go. That's awesome.
There he is.
No way. That is not. Oh my god.
You know, Wes Counts played for the Vipers as well at
He
one
did.
time.
He did. He was with the Vipers when I wasn't a fan.
Oh.
See, that was the year after the Steel Dogs folded, and a bunch of former Steel Dogs players went to play for Tennessee Valley. So I was like, well, I guess I'm a fan of the Vipers now.
There you go. Okay. Your number 2, Justin?
So my number 2, I don't have a clip for.
Oh, darn.
I really want to my number 1 because I do have a clip for that one, but I'm just going to go with the old-fashioned when USA beat the USSR, right? Is that what I mean?
Oh,
in the
okay.
Olympics. So
Big fan back in the 80s, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Listen, I'm a fan of the USA hockey team, okay? Therefore,
it affected my family so much that when I was born, everybody was like, you better be hype about this. So I was. Maybe should have made that one my number 5.
So my number 2 comes from the upset kings of October, specifically Game 6 of the NLCS.
Yes.
The Braves 4-2 win over the Dodgers when Tyler Matzik did Tyler Matzik things. So, yeah, that's my number 2.
That was huge.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, I feel like that was an upset.
It was, because there was no way that we should have gotten out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam.
Yeah.
And he just goes out there and strikes out everybody.
Ugh.
That's how you get out of
That's
it.
how you get. It's the only way to get out of it. And
You're
he
the
did.
coldest man ever to do that. It's crazy.
My number 1 is pretty simple. It's pretty easy, and the fact that the other one is not on here should tell you how big this one is. But of course, my Gamecocks,
Stay cocky.
Ole Miss.
Oh, not Florida State.
No. I think the Ole Miss win was much bigger.
You're probably right.
I mean, it was the first one for that matter, but it just kind of, it was beginning of the season. Everybody was all in on the Oregon transfer. What was his name? He played in the XFL.
Oh, I know you, Jeremiah somebody. I know who you're talking about.
Oh my goodness.
So everybody was high on this kid as Ole Miss's quarterback, and then JSU goes in, wins it in overtime. So that's my number 1.
Dion. That's a great number 1. That's fantastic. My number 1 is the last play Tom Brady threw as a New England Patriot. Enjoy.
How about this guy? Tom together. Boy, can it really end? And when it does, Vrabel. How about playing just the thought that you come back to New England, the first ever coaching opportunity in the postseason, and you could be the one to dethrone the dynasty, to end it. The two of them together. Yes. I mean, we'll never see this run again, Jim.
Brady's pass is intercepted and returned for a touchdown by Logan Ryan, the former Patriots.
Yeah.
I got to think that Brady just went straight to Bruce Arians after that and was like, I play for you now.
Okay, so my number 1, and again, if you've noticed, my list has had a blue tinge to it. I was actually at this ball game, though, the 1982 NCAA's opening round at Memorial Gym, and everybody was hyped up about a second-round matchup between Louisville and Kentucky.
Oh, that's right.
And the Blue Raiders spoiled it with a 50-44 win. Number 11, MTSU knocking off number 6, Kentucky.
Dang.
That's as big an upset as there's been. I mean, that was before the field went to 64 teams, I think.
That's right.
So it's pretty big stuff.
Who does MTSU play next? I know y'all talked about it, but who do they play next this coming week?
They play Texas San Antonio on Friday night.
Out of El Paso.
Could you imagine being that team, having to go play?
Out of El Paso. Sorry.
No, you're not.
So
No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh,
That wraps up our top 5 presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Check out Dallas Steele. He'll get you right.
I look like a little tomato.
Oh, Dallas is the man. Dallas is the man. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 2 o'clock, right here on all of the Main Street Media platforms. Or you can watch us on demand on your iPhone, your Google phone, your Samsung.
Google phone.
Google makes phones now.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They got phones and everything. It's crazy. You can
My
watch-
bad.
They just
can
drop
watch-
robots. You can pick one up. You know.
Watch on your Roku, on your Apple, on your Fire Stick, whatever you want to do on demand. Just download the Main Street Media TV app. Obviously, subscribe on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. Or you can visit MainStreetSportsToday.com. All of that information is there. You can get to all of the links from that particular location. But we appreciate you guys hanging out. We will see you tomorrow right here. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and joined for Justin Kulik and Mo Patton. I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day. See you later.